First Contact's Price. Dr. Sarah Chen stood motionless before the massive holographic display in the Quantum Detection Array facility beneath the Atacama Desert. The signature was unmistakable: a fleet of vessels, previously invisible to conventional detection methods, hovering at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Their energy signatures pulsed with an alien rhythm that confirmed humanity's long-held suspicion: we were not alone. But unlike the panicked reactions depicted in countless science fiction stories, Dr. Chen merely pressed her palm against the biometric scanner, initiating Earth Defense Protocol Alpha. She had trained for this moment for 15 years, ever since the mysterious destruction of the Mars Research Station revealed the first hints of an advanced alien presence in our solar system. Multiple signatures confirmed, her AI assistant reported. 17 vessels, maintaining station-keeping formation. They're using some form of gravitational distortion for cloaking, but they can't hide from the quantum entanglement sensors. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. The aliens clearly thought their technology superior, but they hadn't counted on humanity's greatest advantage: paranoia born of centuries of conflict and competition. Ever since the Mars incident, Earth's nations had united in secret, pooling resources and breakthrough technologies in preparation for this very moment. High above in geosynchronous orbit, Admiral James Okonjo received the alert on the bridge of the EDS Vigilant. The massive vessel, officially classified as a weather monitoring station, was one of Earth's 12 orbital defense platforms. Its true nature, a heavily armed warship equipped with experimental quantum weaponry, was known to fewer than 100 people worldwide. "How long have they been watching us?" he asked his tactical officer. "Based on the quantum wake analysis, approximately 3 weeks, sir. They're being cautious, methodical. Standard conquest protocol, if their previous encounters are any indication." The admiral nodded. The Xenorchaeology Division had pieced together enough evidence from ancient ruins on Mars and Europa to understand the aliens' typical approach. They would observe, analyze, and then strike without warning, expecting minimal resistance from what they perceived as a primitive civilization. "Send the package," he ordered. Across Earth's hidden defense network, quantum computers sprang to life, beginning the systematic decryption of the alien fleet's communications. Unlike conventional encryption, which relied on mathematical complexity, the aliens used quantum state manipulation to secure their transmissions. But humanity had spent years preparing for this, developing counter-technologies that turned the aliens' own methods against them. In her underground facility, Dr. Chen watched as the first translated messages began streaming across her display. The aliens' confidence was evident in their casual discussions of Earth's perceived weaknesses. They saw only what humanity wanted them to see: a planet still dependent on fossil fuels, struggling with climate change, and barely capable of reaching its own moon. They hadn't detected the quantum shield grid stretching across the solar system. They were blind to the antimatter production facilities hidden in Mercury's orbit, or the dimensional phase shifters buried beneath Earth's oceans. Most importantly, they had no idea that their every movement had been monitored, analyzed, and countered before they ever entered the solar system. "They're preparing to move closer," Sarah reported to the Global Defense Council. "Standard pattern matches previous archaeological records. They'll likely position themselves for a shock and awe display of force, expecting us to surrender immediately." Council Chairman Zhang's hologram nodded gravely. "Then it's time for humanity to show its true face. Initiate Project Prometheus." Throughout the solar system, hidden facilities hummed to life. Quantum entanglement fields began to spread, invisible webs of energy that would turn the aliens' advanced technology against them. In deep space, automated defense platforms emerged from dimensional shadows, weapons primed but not yet active. "Send the message," Chairman Zhang commanded. Sarah's fingers flew across her console, composing the transmission that would be humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization. The message was simple, direct, and carried the weight of 15 years of preparation. "To the fleet currently positioned in the Kuiper Belt, we have been watching. We have been waiting. We know your intentions. This is not a greeting. This is a warning. Leave our solar system immediately, or face the consequences of underestimating humanity. The message was transmitted simultaneously across all known alien communication frequencies, encrypted using their own quantum protocols. The implicit message was clear. We understand your technology, we can match it, and we have capabilities you haven't yet discovered. In orbit, Admiral Okonjo watched the alien fleet's reaction through quantum sensors. Their ship's energy signatures fluctuated, surprise, perhaps, or confusion. They hadn't expected their presence to be detected, let alone their communications decrypted. They're powering up weapons systems, his tactical officer reported. As expected, the Admiral replied calmly. Humanity has spent 15 years preparing for this moment. If they choose to ignore our warning, they'll learn why our species has survived every catastrophe our planet has thrown at us. We're not just fighting for our survival, we're fighting to show the galaxy that humanity will never be an easy conquest. The alien fleet's response came minutes later, a burst of quantum-encrypted data that their computers quickly decoded. The message was predictable in its arrogance. Primitive species detected. Submit to authority of the hegemony or face immediate elimination. Sarah Chen looked at the translation and shook her head. They still think we're bluffing, she said to her AI assistant. They're about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology. It's our capacity to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. As the alien fleet began their advance, humanity's defense network stood ready. The real first contact was about to begin, and it would not proceed as the aliens expected. Earth was ready to demonstrate why underestimating humanity was the last mistake many species would ever make. The silent strike. The hegemony fleet's advance toward Earth was methodical, precise, and completely predictable. Fleet Commander Zach Still watched from the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, as his ships moved into attack formation. In 10,000 years of expansion, the hegemony had never encountered a species capable of resisting their initial strike. This primitive planet would be no different. First wave primed for dimensional shock assault, his weapons officer reported. Reality distortion fields at maximum power. These primitives won't even see death coming. But in her underground facility, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the alien fleet's approach with calculated satisfaction. Every movement, every energy signature, every quantum fluctuation matched the predictions of Project Prometheus's behavioral models. The aliens were walking into a trap 15 years in the making. Quantum entanglement field at full saturation, her AI reported. Ready to initiate on your command. Sarah opened a secure channel to Admiral Okonjo's flagship. They're using exactly the dimensional frequencies we extracted from the Mars ruins. Prometheus counter protocol is ready. In orbit, Admiral Okonjo gave a grim nod. Coordinate with all defense platforms. Timing must be perfect. We only get one chance to show them what humanity is capable of. The alien fleet reached their predetermined strike position, their dimensional weapons charging for what they believed would be a devastating first strike. Commander Zach Still allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Soon, another primitive world would join the hegemony's vast empire. Maximum charge achieved, his weapons officer announced. Ready to initiate dimensional shock. The officer's words cut off as every display on the bridge suddenly went dark. The familiar hum of the ship's quantum core fell silent. Throughout the fleet, ships began to drift, their advanced technology rendered useless by an invisible field of counter-dimensional energy. What's happening? Zach Still demanded. Report. Impossible, his science officer whispered, staring at a backup display powered by primitive chemical batteries. They've created a quantum nullification field, but the energy requirements, no primitive species could possibly. The officer's words died in his throat as new signals appeared on his screen. Rising from Earth's oceans, emerging from dimensional pockets in orbit, materializing from what seemed like empty space. Hundreds of human vessels, their designs unlike anything in the hegemony's vast database. Did you really think, Admiral Okonjo's voice came through on all frequencies, using the hegemony's own encryption, that humanity would reach for the stars without preparing for what we might find. On the Eternal Dominion's bridge, Zack still watched in growing horror as his mighty fleet, pride of the hegemony, drifted helpless in space. The humans had not only anticipated their technology, they had developed perfect counters to it. "Impossible," he whispered. "You're primitives. You barely have fusion power. Your ships still use chemical rockets. We showed you what we wanted you to see." Sarah Chen's voice joined the transmission. "Humanity learned long ago that appearing weak when you are strong gives you an advantage. We've been preparing for this moment since we found the ruins your kind left on Mars." The human fleet moved with precision that spoke of years of training, taking up positions that surrounded the disabled hegemony ships. But they didn't open fire. They didn't need to. The demonstration of power was clear enough. In the Atacama facility, Sarah watched the alien fleet's desperate attempts to restore power. Their confusion was evident in the chaotic energy signatures that their ships still emanated. "They still don't understand," she told her eye. "They think this is the extent of our capabilities." "Shall we show them Phase 2? The AI asked. Sarah's finger hovered over the activation control. The quantum nullification field was just the beginning. Behind it lay layers of defensive and offensive technologies that humanity had developed, each designed to counter specific aspects of the alien technology they'd reverse-engineered from the Mars ruins. "Not yet," she decided. "Let them process this first lesson. Sometimes the most effective weapon is the fear of what your enemy might do next." Admiral Okonjo agreed with the assessment. "Keep the nullification field active," he ordered his fleet. "Let them float there and think about their choices. When their emergency power systems finish burning out in approximately 30 minutes, we'll give them another demonstration of humanity's capabilities." On the Eternal Dominion, Zack Still's crew worked frantically to restore power. But each attempt failed as the humans' quantum field adapted, countering their every move. The mighty hegemony fleet, terror of 1,000 worlds, hung helpless in space while primitive humans held them at their mercy. "How?" Zack Still demanded of his science officer. "How did they develop this technology without us detecting it?" "Sir," the science officer's voice shook, "I'm analyzing their quantum field. It's more advanced than our own. They didn't just match our technology, they improved upon it. While we watched their primitive rockets and satellites, they were studying us, preparing." The realization hit Zack Still like a physical blow. The humans hadn't just prepared for first contact, they had orchestrated it. Every piece of primitive technology they'd detected had been carefully displayed. Every transmission they'd intercepted had been deliberately leaked. The humans had turned the entire solar system into an elaborate trap, and the mighty hegemony fleet had walked right into it. As emergency power failed across his ship, Zack Still received one final transmission from Earth. It was text only, written in perfect hegemony script. "Lesson 1 is complete. Would you like to see what else humanity has prepared for unwelcome visitors?" For the first time in his long career, the fleet commander felt something he'd never expected to experience when confronting a primitive species: fear. Breaking point. In the darkness of his powered-down bridge, Fleet Commander Zack Still faced the greatest crisis of his 1,000-year career. The Eternal Dominion's emergency systems were failing one by one, and with them, the last vestiges of hegemony superiority. But worse than the technological failure was the psychological blow. The humans had not just defeated them, they had humiliated them. "Sir," his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vexna, approached with a portable data unit. "We've completed analysis of the human quantum field. It's disturbing." Zack Still took the device, its dim light casting shadows across his angular features. The data confirmed his worst fears. The humans hadn't simply copied hegemony technology. They had fundamentally reimagined it. Where hegemony quantum systems brute forced their way through dimensional barriers, the human version danced between realities with almost artistic precision. They let us watch them for 3 weeks, Vexna said quietly. They wanted us to see their primitive rockets, their clumsy satellites. Every piece of technology we detected was carefully chosen to reinforce our assumptions. In her facility beneath the Atacama, Dr. Sarah Chen monitored the aliens' failing systems with professional detachment. Their auxiliary power is almost depleted, she reported to the Global Defense Council. They'll be completely blind in approximately 5 minutes. Chairman John's hologram nodded. Perfect timing. Admiral Okonjo, are you ready for Phase 2? All ships in position, the Admiral confirmed from the EDS Vigilant. Dimensional phase shifters primed, ready to show our visitors what humanity's been hiding in the shadows. Sarah's fingers flew across her console, initiating the next stage of humanity's carefully orchestrated revelation. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations began to emerge. Massive structures phased into visible reality. Shipyards around Venus, energy collectors circling Mercury, defense platforms stretching out to the orbit of Jupiter. Let them see, Chairman Zhang commanded. Let them understand exactly what they've challenged. On the Eternal Dominion, emergency power finally failed. The bridge plunged into total darkness, broken only by the stark light of stars. And something else. Through the ship's viewport, Zack still watched in mounting horror as human installations appeared from nowhere, like ghosts materializing in the void. Impossible, he breathed. The scale of this, they would have needed decades. 15 years, Sarah Chen's voice came through on their emergency communicators. Since you destroyed our Mars station, thinking we wouldn't notice. 15 years of reverse engineering your technology, improving it, preparing for this moment. The revelation hit the hegemony crew like a physical blow. The Mars incident, their casual destruction of what they'd thought was a primitive research outpost, had not gone unnoticed. Instead, it had triggered the very preparations that now held them helpless. You've seen a fraction of our defensive capabilities. Admiral Okonjo's voice joined the transmission. We could destroy your fleet right now. But humanity prefers to give chances for peaceful resolution, even to those who come as conquerors. In orbit around Earth, the human fleet began to move. Ships that had seemed impressive before now revealed themselves as mere shells, outer layers peeling away to expose far more advanced vessels beneath. It was another layer of deception. Weapons platforms disguised as simple warships, themselves disguised as primitive spacecraft. Your species is young, Zack still protested, clinging to his last shreds of superiority. You barely understand quantum mechanics. Your civilization has existed for mere thousands of years. Youth has its advantages, Sarah responded. We're not bound by traditions or assumptions. We look at your 1,000-year-old technology and don't see something to copy. We see something to improve. As if to emphasize her point, the quantum nullification field shifted. Power returned to the hegemony ships, but not fully. They had just enough energy to observe, to witness the true extent of human advancement. In the Atacama facility, Sarah monitored the aliens' reactions through quantum sensors that read the micro-fluctuations in their ship's energy signatures. They're beginning to understand, she told her eye. But understanding isn't enough. We need them to feel it. Feel what, Dr. Chen? Fear, she replied simply. Not of our weapons or our technology. They need to fear our potential. The hegemony has spent thousands of years perfecting their technology. We took it apart and improved it in less than 2 decades. They need to fear what we might become if they force us to continue down the path of military advancement. Admiral Okonjo understood the strategy. Each revelation was carefully calculated, not just to demonstrate power, but to emphasize humanity's rate of progress. The message was clear. If this is what humanity could achieve in 15 years of preparation, what would they be capable of in another 15? On the Eternal Dominion's bridge, Zaxtil watched as more human installations revealed themselves. Each one represented a different aspect of hegemony technology, twisted and improved in ways his scientists hadn't even considered. The humans hadn't just prepared for war. They had reimagined the very foundations of spatial manipulation. "Sir," Vexna's voice was barely a whisper, "the Council is demanding an update. What do we tell them?" Zaxtil stared at the endless array of human achievements surrounding his helpless fleet. The truth was bitter, but undeniable. Tell them. Tell them we've made a terrible mistake. Tell them we've awakened something far more dangerous than a primitive species. We've given advanced technology to a race that doesn't just adapt. They innovate. And now we have to face the consequences. The counterstrike. Admiral Okonjo stood on the bridge of the EDS Vigilant, watching the disabled hegemony fleet through quantum-enhanced sensors. The alien ships hung in space like broken toys, their once proud technology reduced to little more than elaborate paperweights by humanity's quantum nullification field. But he knew better than to underestimate a wounded enemy. "Dr. Chen," he called through the quantum comlink, "are you detecting any changes in their auxiliary systems?" In her underground facility, Sarah studied the complex data streams flowing across her displays. Their power signatures are fluctuating in an unusual pattern. They're trying something desperate. She was right. Deep within the Eternal Dominion, Fleet Commander Zaxtil had made a decision. If the humans wanted to demonstrate their superiority, he would show them why the hegemony had ruled the stars for millennia. "Release the containment seals," he ordered. "Initiate core cascade." His crew stared at him in shock. Sub-Commander Vexna stepped forward. "Sir, a quantum core cascade in these conditions could tear reality itself. The dimensional backlash would destroy both fleets." "Better destruction than humiliation," Zaxtil snarled. "Let the humans witness the true power of the hegemony, even if it's the last thing they see." But Sarah Chen had anticipated this too. Her quantum sensors detected the building energy signature immediately. "They're overloading their quantum cores," she reported calmly, "attempting to create a dimensional rupture that would take us with them." Chairman John's hologram flickered with concern. "Can we prevent it?" Sarah's fingers danced across her console. "We don't need to prevent it. We can use it." She opened a channel to Admiral Okonjo. "Sir, recommend immediate activation of Project Helios." The Admiral's eyes widened slightly. Project Helios was one of humanity's most closely guarded secrets, a technology so advanced that even most of Earth's leadership didn't know its full capabilities. "Are you certain?" "Their core cascade will create a dimensional weakness. Project Helios can exploit that to demonstrate our final advantage." On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, Zaxtil watched with grim satisfaction as his ship's quantum core began its terminal overload. The humans had proven themselves clever, but they couldn't possibly be prepared for. His thoughts were interrupted by a new sensation. The space around his fleet began to twist, not from his ship's failing cores, but from something else. Something vast. "Sir," his science officer's voice cracked with disbelief, "I'm detecting. It's impossible." Through the viewport, reality itself seemed to fold. A massive structure was emerging from what appeared to be a pocket dimension, a human installation that dwarfed anything the hegemony had ever built. Its surface rippled with energy patterns that defied conventional physics. "Welcome to Project Helios." Sarah Chen's voice came through their emergency systems. "What you're seeing is humanity's quantum forge, a facility that exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. We built it to mass-produce the technology you've already witnessed, but it has other capabilities." As if to demonstrate, the massive installation began to pulse with energy. The quantum cascade building in the hegemony ship's cores suddenly reversed, their destructive potential drawn out and absorbed by the human facility. "Dimensional engineering on this scale," Vexna whispered. "Our greatest scientists theorized it was impossible." "Impossible is humanity's starting point," Admiral Okonjo responded. "Your attempted suicide attack just provided enough energy to power Earth's defenses for the next decade." Thank you for your contribution. In the Atacama facility, Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she monitored the quantum forge's energy absorption. The aliens had played exactly into their hands, their desperation revealing humanity's final and most devastating technological achievement. They're trying to transmit to their homeworld, her AI reported. Should we block it? No, Sarah decided. Let them report everything they've seen. Let their leaders understand exactly what awaits any future invasion force. The message that Zach Still sent was brief but clear. Hegemony Command, we have gravely miscalculated. The humans are not primitives. They are something unprecedented. They take our most advanced technology and treat it as a starting point for innovation. They have weapons we cannot counter, defenses we cannot breach, and capabilities we cannot comprehend. Most critically, they have achieved in 15 years what took us millennia. If you value the survival of the hegemony, you will mark this system as forbidden and never return. Admiral Okonjo watched the transmission go out, encrypted in ways that would have been unbreakable just a few years ago. Dr. Chen, are we ready for the final demonstration? Sarah checked her readings one last time. Project Helios had fully absorbed the energy from the aliens' failed attack, and now thrummed with barely contained power. Yes, sir. All systems are optimal. Then let's show them why challenging humanity was their greatest mistake. The Admiral's voice carried across all frequencies. Attention, Hegemony Fleet. You came to our system believing us primitive. You planned to conquer what you saw as an easy target. Now witness the full extent of your error. Project Helios began to pulse with a new rhythm, its multidimensional structure resonating with possibilities that the hegemony had never imagined. What happened next would ensure that no alien force ever again mistook humanity's peaceful nature for weakness. Victory's echo. The quantum forge of Project Helios pulsed with accumulated energy, its massive structure bridging multiple dimensions as it prepared for humanity's final revelation. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, Fleet Commander Zach Still and his crew watched in helpless fascination as reality itself seemed to bend around them. You understand now, don't you? Dr. Sarah Chen's voice carried across all frequencies. Why we let you watch us for 3 weeks. Why we showed you our primitive technology. We needed to know if your kind could be reasoned with, or if you would prove as aggressive as the ruins on Mars suggested. In the Atacama facility, Sarah's fingers danced across her quantum-linked console, initiating the final phase of humanity's carefully orchestrated demonstration. Project Helios isn't just a weapon or a defense system. It's humanity's answer to a fundamental question. How do we protect Earth without becoming the very thing we fear? Admiral Okonjo's voice joined hers, addressing the alien fleet. Your civilization spent thousands of years perfecting the art of conquest. We spent 15 years learning how to make conquest impossible. The quantum forge's energy reached its peak, and suddenly the space around the hegemony fleet transformed. Their ships found themselves surrounded by an infinite array of reflections, not mere images, but quantum echoes showing alternate realities, each displaying a different aspect of humanity's potential. In one reality, Earth bristled with weapons that could unmake stars. In another, human ships spread across the galaxy, powered by technologies the hegemony had never imagined. Each reflection showed a different path humanity could take, a different response to the threat of alien aggression. These aren't illusions, Sarah explained. They're quantum possibilities, futures we could choose if forced. Project Helios doesn't just manipulate energy or matter. It manipulates probability itself. Vexina, the hegemony science officer, finally understood. They're not just showing us their current capabilities, she whispered to Zach Still. They're showing us every way they could destroy us, every path of advancement they could take, and they're letting us choose which humanity we want to face. Chairman John's hologram appeared before the alien fleet, his expression stern but not unkind. Your civilization defines itself through conquest. Ours defines itself through choice. Today, we choose to offer you one last chance to leave peacefully. The quantum reflections shifted, showing scenes of cooperation, of shared knowledge and mutual advancement. But behind these peaceful images lurked darker possibilities, futures where humanity's defense of Earth had forced them to become something terrible and unstoppable. The choice is yours, Admiral Okonjo declared. Leave our solar system and never return, and we'll remain the peaceful civilization you see before you. Force us to defend ourselves further, and you'll face a humanity shaped by the necessity of war. We excel at adaptation, especially when our survival is threatened. In her facility, Sarah monitored the aliens' reactions through quantum sensors that read the micro-fluctuations in their ship's energy signatures. Fear, awe, and something else. Understanding. They finally grasped that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology, but their potential for rapid advancement. Zack still stood on his bridge, watching the infinite array of possible futures. Each one showed a humanity more formidable than the last. The message was clear. This was merely the beginning of what humans could become. Send to Hegemony Command, he ordered, his voice heavy with the weight of revelation. Earth classification updated. This is not a primitive world to be conquered. This is a civilization that has mastered the art of turning an adversary's strength against them. They do not think in terms of weapons, but in terms of possibilities. They do not prepare for war. They prepare to make war itself obsolete. Through the quantum link, Sarah Chen heard his transmission and nodded in satisfaction. This was the understanding they had hoped for. Not just fear of humanity's current capabilities, but recognition of their limitless potential for growth and adaptation. Admiral Okonjo gave the final order. Deactivate the quantum nullification field. Let them leave with their dignity intact, and with a story to tell. Power returned to the hegemony ships, but none of them moved to attack. They had seen too much, understood too much. As their engines powered up for faster-than-light travel, Zack still sent one final message to Earth. We came seeking conquest and found something we never expected. A mirror showing us the folly of our own ambitions. Your species is young, but you understand something it took us millennia to learn. True power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to show mercy when you hold that ability. The hegemony fleet disappeared into hyperspace, leaving behind a changed solar system. Humanity had revealed itself to the galaxy not through conquest or aggression, but through the power of preparation, innovation, and choice. In the Atacama facility, Sarah Chen began powering down Project Helios. Its purpose served. Do you think they understood the real message? Her AI asked. Sarah smiled. They understood. We showed them every possible way we could have destroyed them, then chose not to. That's humanity's true strength, not the weapons we can build, but the wisdom to know when not to use them. Admiral Okonjo watched the alien fleet's retreat from the Bridge of the Vigilant. Send word to all stations, he ordered. Project Prometheus is complete. Humanity has passed its first test of contact with an alien civilization, not through superior firepower, but through superior thinking. Chairman Zheng's hologram nodded in agreement. And now the real work begins. We've shown the galaxy what humanity can become when threatened. Let's show them what we can become when offered peace instead. The quantum forge hung in space, a testament to human ingenuity and a reminder to any watching eyes. Earth was protected not just by technology or weapons, but by a species whose greatest power lay in their ability to imagine and choose a better future.